Safe Alliance is Austin's leading organization helping survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, and trafficking escape abuse and rebuild their lives. Right now in Austin, 88 people are waiting for Safe's emergency shelter. Nearly 40 of them are children. If every person in the Austin Metro gave just $1 a month, it would house 1,000 people every night. So start your monthly gift today at safeaustin.org/citycastgives. That's SAFEAUSTIN.org/citycastgives. $1, huge impact. We all know Texas weather is crazy. Whether it's our uncomfortably warm summers or our crazy freezes in the winter, the one thing that's consistent is those ridiculously high electric bills. New windows could help change that. And right now, Window Nation is having a buy 4, get 4 windows free sale. You can also get them with 0 down, 0 monthly payments, and 0 interest for 2 years. Plus, Window Nation's windows come with a lifetime warranty. So, schedule a fast, free estimate now at windownation.com. City Council is back in session after a winter break, and there is already lots going on. So today on CityCast Austin, I'm speaking with our expert to talk about the surprising candidate trying to run for office, council spending, and a new housing policy that could be coming down the pipe. It's Thursday, January 29th. I'm Nikki Devon, and this is what Austin's talking about. Hello, I am here with Amy Stansberry, editor-in-chief of the Austin Common. Amy, welcome back. It is that time. Happy 2026. How are you? Thank you for being here.
I'm good.
I know it hasn't been that long, but it feels like it's been a really long time since we talked. It's weird.
Yeah, but, there's that lull, that holiday lull, which is nice and greatly appreciated.
That's true. That's true. So, okay, I have to ask, I recently saw some noise online about a reality TV star from the show called Teen Mom wanting to run for mayor. But first of all, I embarrassingly don't know what that is. I don't know what Teen Mom is. I didn't watch a lot of reality show, like the MTV reality show stuff, like my Super Sweet 16. I'm assuming it's like around the same time.
Yes, it is around that era. Yeah,
okay,
I used to. It's so funny. Like in college, me and my roommates used to watch this show like religiously. And my one college roommate actually just messaged all of us like when that's how I heard about this news. She was like, "Oh my gosh, I think someone is running for mayor in Austin."
Oh my God. Okay, so what happened? What happened? Because this is crazy.
The best I can tell you, one of the former stars of that show lives in Austin now. And I suppose she at first announced she was running for mayor this year, but there is no mayoral election this year.
I'm super excited to be a candidate for mayor of Austin. I'm running super early, so I can't wait to see who's going to run with me and challenge me.
So sometimes people say the less you know, the more you like. You are now giving them many years to make a decision.
We should say,
because the election's not until 2028. Why so early?
Oh, for some reason, the mayor election is 2026. I don't know. That's just what the office told me as well.
Boy, we should get some clarity here.
You got to double check that. So it seems like now she is running for the District 5 City Council seat, which is currently held by Councilmember Ryan Alter. I just was on her Instagram before we got on, and it seems like she's campaigning. Like there are videos and stuff of her. It's not clear like she has like some info on there, but unclear about the platform. But I will definitely be interviewing her when it's time for elections. So who knows?
This is amazing. This is what I love actually about how unhinged reality stars are, because she's like, I'm gonna run for mayor. Oh, there's no mayor election. Cool. No, it's fine. I'll run for city council then. It's just like it's like, I don't need to be prepared. I don't need to have any experience. Come on. Anybody can do this.
Well, and this is what I love about local government. It's like, you know what? It is open. It's a democracy. Anyone who wants to run can run, pretty much. You just have to be a resident of the city. So we will see. I don't know. I haven't. We'll see what she continues to talk about and what issues she discusses.
This
but
is amazing.
I think it's part of the beauty of the process. Like, everyone is allowed. We all live in a community, and we're all allowed to share what we think about it.
Her name is Farrah Abraham.
Yes, I believe that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
So something definitely to stay tuned on. And I guess, a good opportunity. Of course, I loved it because I'm a huge civic nerd. And I'm like, great point of fact that right now we do not have 2026 is not a mayoral election, but half of our city council seats are up for election. But that we won't see that until November. Again, there's no primaries for city council races. So that also means that a lot more people can run. So since we don't have primaries, sometimes those general elections can be full of, anyone from reality TV stars to, your next door neighbor. So we'll see.
I love this so much. I'm going to be thinking about this and reading into this and rabbit holing this for the rest of the day. This is fantastic.
That's good. It's a good excuse for you to watch some old MTV episodes and pretend that it's work.
Oh my God. That's what I'll tell my producers. This
right.
is all for...
It's for research.
This is research. So, all right. I guess we got to get into some other news. We all know Austin City Council took a little winter break and got back to work towards the end of January. The one thing that everyone has their eyes on since voters rejected the Prop Q tax increase, is City Council spending. I've been seeing a lot about City Council spending. Mayor Kirk Watson said at the time that voters sent them a clear message about spending, and they're now making changes. So what is in the new expense policy, specifically that City Council members have adopted, that they have to abide by now?
Yeah, so basically, like you said, after that Prop Q election, council really did a lot of inward thinking, and they were like, okay, it seems like, I think the message they took away is that voters want to see some more fiscal prudence from them. And also, I think it's important to say, fixing council budgets is not going to fix our overall budget. It's still a really small proportion of our budget. But I think the idea is leadership, right? And to be modeling, right, the values that we should have. So basically what kind of came out is it seems like council didn't really have much of a policy before. It had all these disconjointed policies. And so the Statesman had published some reporting about different council spending habits that they were sort of flagging, most of which actually were not technically against the rules. But again, it's because it seemed kind of unclear about what some of the rules were. And so these were things like solo meals. So maybe reimbursing yourself for a lunch while you're in between meetings or something, but you're not meeting with a constituent during that lunch. You're just eating it alone. Things like maybe higher travel budgets, different kind of quote unquote donations, but money given to different advocacy or nonprofit groups, usually in order to do some other thing that the council member supported. But still, these are advocacy groups. So there can be a line there, not everyone might agree with that. So there are these gray areas. And so basically what ended up happening is they passed clear guidelines. One of the council committees really worked on this. So some of the things, the new rules they have in place are, sometimes they do have to travel for different conferences and things that can benefit the city, but they have to, travel very minimally, no flight upgrades or anything like that. No more of these personal meals. They could still use money if they're having a constituent meeting or something and they want to have a meal there, but not just for themselves. Stricter limits on donations or money spent to some of these outside groups and these nonprofit or advocacy groups, I think up to $50, so pretty small. And then also an added layer of transparency. So all their expense reports will now be made public. And just, again, so that everyone can kind of see how the money is being spent. And then there was some debate on the council over this idea of unused funds.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So basically, council members are given pretty flexible budgets, and they're allowed to decide what works best for them.
Right.
And building out their staff, right? So some of them have different size teams.
Yep.
They have different kind of staff members that are doing different things. And some of them have sort of elected to save some money, roll it over year, and then donate it to a big project that they want in their district. So most often, this comes by way of parks A lot of them have done this. They might donate 50, 100 grand that they've saved over several years, maybe by not having as much staff or cutting in other areas. And then they kind of donate it to the Parks Department in order to build a new playground or whatever in their district. And there was a lot of debate on the dais about like whether this is a practice that should continue or not.
Really?
Yeah. So some council members are like, we should be able to continue doing this. Yeah. I know my district best. If I feel like my district is best served by putting the money towards a project that I know they want and less in another area, like I should be allowed to do that. And every council member can make those decisions. Other council members and the mayor especially was like, this is unusual. Other cities in Texas don't have this kind of thing. Usually they have a use it or lose it policy where if you have a balance, you can't just carry it over and bank it for future projects. And he kind of raised this flag of like, well, maybe we're just over-resourcing our council budgets. Like maybe we should just be cutting them. But so it was a hotly debated. It's tough, right? It's
really tough because, first of all, the mayor can't be acting like he didn't know that this was going on.
Everyone knows what's going on.
Everyone knows what's going on. Everybody's been doing it. But also, I do tend to agree that, council members have a unique look into their districts. If they are communicating with their constituency on the regular basis, they know what needs to be fixed, for lack of a better way to say it. We're talking about parks in this situation, but like you hear from your constituents every single day, every day about what's going on in your district. I think taking that option away, I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know if I agree with taking that option away.
Well, you're in the majority then because the council voted to keep the option.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah. Hell yeah. Okay. I do like that.
It was really split, though. It was a pretty divided vote, a pretty close vote with the mayor really pushing against it. But in the end, the council members decided they still are going to have that rollover option. It seems like they're also maybe on the side kind of working towards potentially building out this program they're calling district service funds, which could be sort of flexible pots of money that council members would be district by district that council members could have a little bit more sway in. Some of the things that council members have brought up is sometimes kind of urgent needs are brought to them.
Yeah.
And they can't wait till next budget cycle. Right. And they don't have the ability to just pull money and be like, this thing broke at this park, right? And I want to get it fixed now.
Yeah.
So they're talking about separately kind of developing this program, which could potentially eventually replace the rollover funds. But for now, because the other program doesn't exist, council was like, we want to keep the rollover funds.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that there is an argument to say, if we got extra money in your office budget, it should go back to the taxpayers. I don't even know how that would happen. Yeah, back to the general fund.
It would just go back into the budget.
But I think that when you think about that, the general fund, that can go anywhere. That can be used at the for any point versus you being able to directly affect your constituents in your district. I think a good example of this is I think it was the Millennium the Millennium went through a summer with no AC. So there were like children at the Millennium Center, no AC, no, you know what I mean? Like no help. It's just like not every single option is that dire as like children playing with no AC in the summer. It's a good example of like, okay, this can directly help my constituents right now.
Right. And I think that's the flexibility that some of these council members were really unwilling to give up. At the same time, I think you heard from other council members, I think Councilmember Duchin brought this up, which is maybe this is incentivizing us to do the wrong thing. Maybe this is incentivizing us to, instead of spending the money on staff or other kind of more normal, quote unquote, council functions, we feel the need to squirrel some away because we also know there are dire projects in our community and maybe we're making tough choices here. But other council members are like, well, I know better. I think that each council member should have the ability to make that choice for their community. And so that's where they landed. That's a tough one.
Murder on the Orient Express steams onto the Zach Theater stage January 21st through March 1st with intrigue, elegance, and jaw-dropping 1930s grandeur. Agatha Christie's iconic whodunit is packed with twists, deception, and edge-of-your-seat suspense. Now, if you've never heard of Murder on the Orient Express, let me paint a picture. A glittering evening turns deadly. A body is discovered, tensions rise, secrets spill, and suddenly everyone aboard this luxurious train becomes a suspect in a brilliantly crafted murder mystery. This is perfect for fans of mystery, elegance, classic drama, and immersive high-stakes storytelling. It's a spectacular night out for date nights, group outings, and anyone really craving a world-class whodunit. And it's on stage now at Zach Theater. So get your tickets now at zachtheater.org. Fun is in the air this February in Brenham. Sneak away for a couples weekend and get cozy with some real Texas charm in their historic walkable downtown where you can take your pick of wine bars, breweries, and restaurants. But listen to these cute events that caught my eye. You could check out Hack Winery and sip your way through the world's first video mapping wine tasting experience. Every weekend features either live music, karaoke, or music trivia. And on February 14th, there will be music bingo featuring love songs. Or you could catch a performance of William Shakespeare's star-crossed lovers, Romeo and Juliet, at the Dr. W.W. O'Donnell Performing Arts Center. And those are just two of the many options. Brenham shines bright all year long. So plan your getaway now at visitbrenhamtexas.com. Speaking of tough community that needs help, our unhoused population. They need all the help they can get. And providing housing for them is one of City Council's biggest priorities. What can you tell me about the new green social housing policy that Council adopted? Where did this idea come from and how does it work? How would it work?
Yeah. And for this one, there's a chance it could help some of the unhoused, but also it's even more targeted, I would say, towards working class people. So
nice. Okay.
your teachers, your firefighters, more folks like that can pay, but are having trouble just finding anywhere affordable to live in the city where they work. And so this idea was brought forth by Councilmember Siegel. The big example they always share is what's happening in Montgomery County, Maryland, just outside DC. So they did this really interesting thing where a few years ago, they voted to create a $100 million revolving housing production fund. And it's kind of confusing how it works, but basically, put very simply, what they're doing is using this fund to give low interest loans to developers to build new apartment complexes. And I guess basically the way this generally works is when a developer is building a new apartment complex, they have to go to a private equity firm and a bank to get money they need, the loan they need to start building. And those private equity firms, they expect really high rates of return. And that means the only way to cover that is to charge really high rents.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. And so it's this bad cycle. And so by putting the public involved, this public fund can say, all right, we're still going to charge you something. We're still going to charge you some sort of fee to borrow the money, but it'll be way lower. And so this will allow you to reduce rents. We'll also guarantee that the rents will be a certain price in here. But it can lower the production costs, and also it's revolving because you have to pay it back. It's not a grant, it's a loan, right? So the money can go back in and they can use it again to give out loans to future developers to continue doing projects like this. And there's also a public stake. So after the project is built, I think the county and Montgomery County actually takes a majority stake of the building. So ensure it kind of stays affordable forever. And the idea here is public housing kind of reimagined a little bit. It's still a form of public housing, but it's mixed income levels. And so the idea here is kind of a hybrid of a lot of different things that have been done. But the core thought is that in today's age, federal housing dollars are really drying up, right? The federal government is not coming in like it used to build these projects. And cities have to figure out ways to build affordable housing without spending a ton of public money because we don't have it. Yeah. And so this is sort of an interesting model. And then the green part is that they would be built to certain environmental standards and such like that. So this resolution council passed, though, is really just to get this process started. It says, Look at stakeholders, look at a policy, let's put together some proposals of how this could look and get back to us in the summer. So this is just the very start of putting an idea out there. But basically, it's what it's showing is council is trying to, I think, experiment with this core question, which is how do we build more affordable housing, knowing that we really don't have that much public money available? How can we be a little bit more creative with what we have?
And where are they? Do we know where this would be? No.
Way early stage right now, really just trying to be like, we've seen this work in other cities. What would it look like to start a policy like this in Austin? Kind of like basically asking for the city manager to put together a little bit of a research report just to get the process started.
Well, I mean, okay, so I appreciate that they're even having the conversation, but I think it also, man, like I hope that early stages in this conversation, they are going to talk about location, because I think that East Austin is pretty resourced out and used up.
The one thing I can say location-wise is the intent is that it be near public transit of some sort. Now, we know, Project Connect is still moving forward slowly, but it's happening, right? So that is an option, right, to think about areas along that future line or just bus line areas. And I think part of what the research process of this is getting feedback from the public about this kind of stuff, right? So now is sort of the time where they're developing that.
Okay, I like this idea. I think I am distrustful of developers.
The New York Times had a good story about this. I think a lot of times, especially in more liberal cities, there is a big distrust of developers because for lots of real reasons. But what they're trying to do here is create this hybrid and recognize that, like, if we don't have that much money to spend, we might have to figure out a way to combine.
To work with them is the hypothesis here. And it seems like it has worked pretty well in Maryland. And I think in Europe, they've done this some too. So trying to see how it might work here. Okay. I'm cautiously optimistic. There's just this low level distrust. Like my fear is like they're going to take advantage in some sort of way and cut costs and maybe not build to the specifications that we give them. You know what I mean? Like this seems like at least an olive branch to try to like get past that to work, because we got to work with them. I mean, that goes without saying.
Yeah, it's not easy to build affordable housing.
It's not. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to change topics completely. We have so much green space. Austinites have been having interactions with wild animals, like armadillos and owls and bats that need help. Now, I don't know if I've ever considered an armadillo or an owl or even a bat a wild animal, but evidently they are. And City Council just made it easier for Austin Wildlife Rescue to answer the call for help for these animals that aren't domestic by leasing out some pretty prime real estate. So where is this land and what will Austin Wildlife Rescue be doing with it?
Yeah, so the land is in East Austin, basically in that same sort of area as the Austin Animal Shelter is.
By Lavender Loop?
Right by 183. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So in that same sort of area, there is some vacant land and I think a parking lot that the city has agreed to lease for basically nothing to Austin Wildlife Rescue, which is a nonprofit, in order for them to serve as a new intake facility. So Austin Wildlife Rescue, they take in truly like thousands of not cats or dogs, basically, every year. So, Austin
thousands?
Animal Shelter.
Wow.
Yes, thousands. So Austin Animal Shelter, they're still your, cats, dogs, that kind of thing. But for like the animals you talked about, they go to the Austin Wildlife Rescue, and they had been in one location for, I think, 20 years. They lost that lease recently. They had to move locations to this house. It's pretty small right now.
House?
Yes, it's like
God.
a house, and it's pretty small. So they've been kind of in this precarious situation a little bit. And so the idea here is to give them space. Austin Wildlife Rescue will be responsible for building, like, I think they're going to put in like a modular sort of building on the location at their own expense. But that way they could have like something a little bit more permanent, a bigger space, a bit more appropriate space for them to be that intake facility. And yeah, I think it said they receive approximately 10,000 wild animals in need of care each year from the public.
Holy shit.
It's a lot.
10,000 wild animals. What? That's insanity. Where are they coming from? What is going on? That is a lot of wild animals.
I feel like you see a lot like owls.
What?
I think you do see that a lot. Like owls get hit by a car and they're still alive, but they have a broken wing.
What world am I living in that I have never seen this happen? That is I think in my brain, owls are still some sort of mystical creature that you might get a glimpse of every now and then, not animals that are out being hit by cars. What is going on?
Oh no, you got to be at the right time, like at dusk. If you're out on a
What?
walk at dusk, you gotta listen. You can see all kinds of cool animals. I mean, we're home to a lot of wild animals.
Oh my God, Amy, you are really, I don't know why this is blowing my mind, but I'm just like, 10,000 is a lot. That's a lot of wild animals.
Yeah. And so hopefully this will help just provide them a little bit more stable space, because they do provide a resource that a lot of people use, and not just the public, but also like game wardens, park rangers, all that kind of stuff. And so kind of fits in with, I think, a lot of what the city is trying to do, which is better utilize some of its unused space right now in a way that's quick.
Now, this is right next to the city's animal shelter, who we know is struggling. And they need more space and they need more resources. And so I've learned this word now. Now I can't stop using it. Speciesism. And it's like,
that's a mouthful.
we pick which animals we think are more important over others. And I think that happens a lot. I think that we tend to think our dogs and cats, the sun shines and sets out of their little bottoms. And
yes, especially in this town.
Especially in this town. And so I would imagine there are a lot of people that are like, why aren't we taking care of, or why aren't we using this extra space that we have for these animals that we feel like are more important? And those are in heavy quotation marks. Are you hearing any of that kind of chatter?
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, there wasn't like a ton, but this doesn't cost the city any money.
Oh.
So I think like the big issue, right? Like to offer this space, which is already just sitting there not being used for another nonprofit to continue doing this service, but maybe doing it better, doesn't cost the city really anything. Obviously, there are a ton of issues with the Austin Animal Shelter, and like it probably does, like it needs a bunch of things, but they all cost money. And that's like exactly what the city doesn't have right now. But what they do have is some assets like space, that I think that's what made this wildlife rescue deal so appealing. It's like, not really a big ask to just say, and it's only it's a 5-year lease, with the ability to extend, but it's also not permanent. It's like a modular building that they would put there. So it's really just utilizing city space that is otherwise not being used at this exact moment.
It's all about money. I forgot that the Austin Wildlife Rescue is a nonprofit.
It's a nonprofit.
Yeah, that's a nonprofit. Okay.
Yeah, so it's just separate from the city. So they're doing their own thing. But yes, there is a long list of needs at the Austin Animal Shelter that still definitely needs to be worked through.
This is ridiculous, Amy. Now you got me thinking about all these wild animals that could possibly be just moving through our city that I'm not aware of.
I've seen all kinds. I saw a bobcat once.
What?
I saw a bobcat once on a trail. I've seen the wild feral hogs. Seen all kinds of owls. I'll send you pictures.
Absolutely send me pictures, first of all. But this is what happens when you fit people running around in the trails, going on walks and hikes. You see bobcats. That's crazy. That's crazy. Okay, so I want to know, what is on your radar for people to watch for this month? What should we have our eyes and ears, on the lookout for?
Yeah, so the next big thing that council is working on is this like efficiency audit study thing. So this was like the other big thing. After Prop Q failed, council kind of looked at two things kind of inward that they could do better. So one is the personal spending policies at their own offices, which they just did. And next is this idea of introducing some kind of regular audit or study system to look into each of the city departments with an eye towards how could we spend less here, and or how could we get more bang for our buck out of different city contracts. So a lot of the ways the city does some of its programs is they contract out to nonprofit organizations. This is completely normal practice. Those nonprofit organizations have more experience, but there has been some debate as to whether or not the city is managing those as best we can in order to get the most amount of services, or results back. And so they're working on putting together a plan for this audit. It's been very controversial. There's a lot of questions about, how much money will it cost? You don't want to spend a bunch of money on an audit that's meant to save you money. And so that'll be the next kind of topic of conversation they're coming into in February. But their goal is to look at savings, knowing that our budget is just going to keep getting tighter. The tax rate election didn't pass. So we got to look at ways we can better save.
So it sounds like the word of the year this year is going to be money, budget, just spending. Yeah. Tightening the belt.
Correct, which is not easy. It's very difficult to make these choices. And so that's part of why they're trying to look at not just cutting programs, but okay, how could we see if there are ways to just still have the programs, but have them run more efficiently, have more savings. But we don't know, there's potential savings there, but we don't know that.
You just have to try it. You just got to try it. You just got to throw some spaghetti at the wall. I want to just really quick before we end this, you mentioned that half of our council seats are up for re-election this year. Did I hear that right?
Yep. So every even year, half of our city council seats go up for election.
Okay.
And so that'll happen in November. And then also one thing to keep an eye out for, already early voting starts in February, is that our county commissioners seats, they do have primaries. Those are on the ballot in March, but early voting starts in February. So that's another local race to keep your eyes out for. And for the commissioners races for Travis County, like I said, those are primaries. And that's pretty much the election that matters in Travis County. Right now, all of our elected officials are Democrats. So the real race is in that Democratic primary. The November election is a lot less exciting, honestly, right now.
Oh my God. Amy, thank you for being here. I love talking to you. This is so fun.
Anytime I can talk about Teen Mom and City Hall in one conversation is great.
It's a great day for you. Okay, well, we will see you next month.
See ya.
That's all for today here on CityCast Austin. You can find links to Amy's social media in our show notes. If you enjoyed the show, tell your friend that also loves Teen Mom. Rate our show, leave us a review, and of course, as always, subscribe to our Hey Austin newsletter. And if you really love us and you are obsessed with how amazing we are, help support us by becoming our neighbor today. You already know, go to membership.citycast.fm. We are having a cute little membership event coming up, and you might want to go to that. So check into it. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Bye, y'all.